Welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the Tri-F podcast, where we try not to have the podcast up. So, Cody, how are you this evening?
I'm good, buddy. How are you guys?
I feel like I've been hit by a car and then backed over.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm like, if my riddled body was a possum, it was backed over by a car, then thrown in a crock pot, and then eaten by a redneck. That's how I feel.
Okay. You might want to go get that checked out.
Welcome to being over 30.
Actually, yes. Yesterday when I was at Easter with the family, I looked at everybody and I said, "Ha, I'm dying." So
no more chocolate for me.
It's like, that's what 36 means. I'm dying. And everybody was like, shut up, I'm 52. It's like, we're all dying. That's great. It's great.
Slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely.
Every day that ends in Y.
Yep. So, Trevor, how are you besides dying?
It depends on what you mean by that.
Are you doing good? Are you dying well?
I don't know. Am I breathing?
What?
Yes.
Let me check.
Trevor's great, everybody. Trevor's fantastic.
Hey, I'm breathing. I'm okay.
Okay, let's not bury the lead here.
Goodness.
So, Trevor, the Skinwalker thing is your deal. I crammed this third season of a thing about it on the History Channel to try to at least understand what the problem was. And then you told me that the whole thing was crap. I wasted my time watching the History Channel thing on Skinwalkers because apparently it was just like Ancient Aliens and full of garbage. So all my research was for naught. So how about you tell me what in the world this is?
For the sake of the live stream, when's the last time you believe anything on the History Channel?
Never.
Okay. So I don't have to
go
any farther with the argument.
I'm not asking you to argue. What is it? What is it?
What is the Skinwalker?
What is the Skinwalker Ranch? Give us the 3,000-foot peripheral view of the Skinwalker Ranch. Why do people believe in it? Because I have my opinions based on the documentary you told me was garbage. But why don't we start with you since you're the reliable source here?
I'm not a reliable source. What are you
Just
talking about?
answer the question.
The answer to the question is, from my opinion, what I've seen on videos and whatnot, and what have you, way back before we bought out the land, Skinwalker Ranch was a very popular place for the locals to do their rituals. And anyways, so now the veil in that area is very thin. So all types of spirits and whatnot, and skinwalkers and all Bigfoots and all that, aliens, all that, anything supernatural can come through. The whole ranch is like a big portal, basically. And so things can manifest just out of the blue.
Isn't there like a big mineral dump in the mountain? Like
something like that.
No, there's a military base in the mountain. This is my opinion, based on that History Channel documentary.
Oh, here we go.
The Fed is playing Scooby-Doo. That's what I've decided. The Fed's playing Scooby-Doo. That's what it is. So
it's the CIA's fault.
It's always the CIA. That needs to go on a T-shirt. It's always the CIA. No, if you take one look at that mesa, that ridge, it's running parallel with the ranch. You take one look at that thing, it's like, oh, there's absolutely a federal base or something in there.
Like Area 51?
The topography. Well, the topography, you look at it, like that thing is full of caves. There's all sorts of garbage in there.
Yeah.
So I think basically what happened is there was a government operation going in there. I won't go into how it started or whatnot yet. Then some dude bought it in the 90s, and the Fed was like, we're in the middle of working on something. We need to get rid of this guy. So they started killing his cows And, there was like this legend, this local urban legend of the Skinwalker. And so they started cutting up the cow and the cows. And, the reason you kill the cows is because that bankrupts a rancher. And so they were essentially like trying to run the guy off, just like an episode of Scooby-Doo, using a supernatural story as a pretense. I'm telling you,
That's crazy.
It's Scooby and Shaggy. That's what I think's going on. They
We should
became
watch that
feds.
Yeah,
So-
I remember in the documentary they said they kind of attributed it to a mineral deposit. So it's like everything's ultramagnetic and picking up different frequencies and whatever.
I mean, that could be, but I'll tell you, at one point in that History Channel documentary that was apparently garbage, when they're doing one of their experiments, and you could just tell what happened. It's kind of yeah. So basically, these guys get up there in an airplane, and they're trying to essentially map out this area where there's like a gravitational anomaly. Basically, they can't get crap to land where it's supposed to land, and they're trying to figure out why. And they're awfully confused about it. Well, it's not that it's actually confusing. It's either the Mesa or the Fed or something or someone is messing with their mechanical instruments. So it's like, the instruments are saying there's a front wind when there's a backdraft or whatever. Like, they can't even get wind direction right. And so their stuff is not landing where it should. And so while they're doing this in an airplane, they see a shadow fly under them, and they get this burst from the radio signal because they'd actually brought radios up there because they had assumed that the plane's instrumentation wasn't going to work. So they had
Was it
handheld
CIA?
radios. Yeah, they had handheld radios. And so basically when the shadow flies past the guys, the second they start talking through the handheld radio, because they weren't talking through the handheld radio before, the second they start talking through the handheld radio, there's a burst of static, and then there's a feedback loop. Well, everybody starts hearing each other. Now, I've heard this. I think it was actually my dad that was telling me this whenever he did a mission trip in Vietnam, or somebody told me this. I don't remember exactly who it was. But when the government is listening to you and they screw up, your voice will actually start playing through the audio equipment because they've got you bugged, which is exactly what was going on. They had the guys bugged. They screwed up because they had anticipated the plane, but they hadn't anticipated the handheld radio. And so they scrambled the signal in a panic, and they caused a feedback loop. And you know that the people in the show knew it because one of them, as it happens, actually screams they're bugged. And then it's never brought up again. So they literally said they were bugged for one sentence got through, and then they never brought it up again. It's like, shouldn't you look for the bug? Apparently not.
You know what's crazy?
What's
It's not
that?
important because we'll get shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. The same thing happens in baby monitors too.
Oh, really? You get the feedback?
Well, you get the feedback. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if they're bugged or not, but that same feedback will happen in baby monitors a lot.
Yeah. Well, they had a microphone in there. The Fed did, and that was what was causing the feedback. And so they're obviously being listened to, but they brought it up once and then never talked about it again.
Yeah.
Well, they're on the History Channel. Of course they're being listened to.
Yeah. It's not like the Fed would actually let them. So anyway, I think that the Fed's got something that they're hiding up there. I imagine. And that gets us into Trump talking about bending space and time and some of the technology they're starting to admit exists. I think they've been working on some of that in Skywalker Ranch. But we'll get into that here in a minute.
Wait. Luke is not at Skinwalker Ranch.
Luke
Did I say
Skywalker?
Skywalker? Did I say Skywalker?
You did.
Well, let's see. That's because
It's funny.
I
We should
don't.
we should get a picture of Luke Skywalker and put some antlers on him. It'd be great.
There we go.
Make him the Skinwalker?
What about Scooby Skywalker?
Scooby Doo.
I don't know. I'm
Where
tired.
are
I'm
you?
tired and I don't care. So let's watch this video. So
I don't care that you're not tired.
What?
Trevor.
Just
Being
play the video
ridiculous
already.
again.
Yeah. All right. So Trevor, you pulled this up. This is supposed to be something that was seen on Skinwalker Ranch.
This is what you typically would think of whenever you run into a Skinwalker.
Okay, this is what we would typically think. Was this seen at Skinwalker Ranch?
I do not know. It's just a short that people think. It just says Skinwalker caught.
This is a salacious video, folks.
This is
I was just trying to help paint the picture of what a Skinwalker might look like.
Translates. This is an AI conceptual piece of art that gives you an idea what a Skinwalker might be like.
Probably. It's just a short.
We're professionals. Okay, no. Well, here we go. Here we go.
WTF, dear.
That's just a deer.
That's a deer.
Get him.
That's a goat.
Was that a goat? What the heck
It looked
was
like a
that?
goat.
What the heck was it?
That looked
It was
like a donkey that got its neck broke.
Its neck
Yeah,
was broke.
like that.
So how is it still going?
Oh yeah, it must be dead.
Or it's a
Okay, hang on,
Skinwalker that
hang on.
didn't transform completely.
That's a donkey.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen, Trevor.
Anyways, this is what people think when
that
they
a donkey?
hear Skinwalker is something
It
like
does
that.
look like
That's
a
not
donkey.
a Skinwalker. Okay, guys, meth is bad.
Meth is bad.
This is
Trevor,
not. This is
Move on to the
humiliating.
next one.
Moving on.
Stray.
Okay. Well,
Stay out of
okay.
the meth, Trev.
Here's the next one. Here's the next one. Okay.
This one is obviously a person and did this for the video and views, which he's gotten a lot of, and a lot of people believe that this is
Did this
Skinwalker.
happen on Skinwalker Ranch?
No, I'm trying to show people what
Okay. All right.
they look like.
Conceptually. How would you know what a Skinwalker looks? Its
Yeah.
chief feature is transforming,
Apparently, it looks like a donkey.
or a rabbit,
I thought
a dog.
The idea of a skinwalker was from Indian folklore.
That's
And
what I
it's,
thought.
It's
Yes,
like
that's
really
what I thought.
like a 7 or 8 foot tall guy with antlers, like a
Well,
jackrabbit.
Yeah.
These types of videos are what's being pushed as Skinwalkers. And
Oh, okay.
that's
So-
what I was going for.
Gotcha. So this is TikTok trying to like turn people stupid.
No, it's just keeping them stupid.
Okay.
He doesn't believe in skinwalkers, so he decided to go to a forest that locals told him to stay away from.
Oh
And
my
he tried to
goodness,
call
this dude in his
skinwalkers
Speedo.
and immediately started hearing weird noises around him. So then he called skinwalkers in their native tongue.
What was the noise? I just heard like
Well,
dun
go
dun.
Nautalushi.
Go
Wait.
back a little bit and you'll hear it.
Boy, it'd be great.
Ye
if we could-
Nautalushi.
Yeah, I know. I thought that sounded real authentic too. It'd be great if we could hear this. Hang on a minute.
Around him.
Loud noises.
Boy, it'd be great if we could hear the noise over the soundtrack. That wasn't the supernatural noise. That was the Law and Order dun dun.
Well, it is a short. You can watch his full stream on his channel there.
Trevor, this is ridiculous.
Thank you.
Let's keep going. Oh man.
Then he called skinwalkers in their native tongue.
Come get
Part of-
your bacon and
Part of the lore is if you hear a Skinwalker and whistle, it'll come at you.
Like Walking
That's-
Dead?
So
it's like
this is
Boom
what
Hour
he's doing.
going Bigfoot hunting. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, let's try that again. Just one more time here.
In their native tongue.
I'm doing it again.
In their native tongue.
Wait, how do you spell that?
Ye Nautalushi.
Dang on, eating on the ocean, y'all. So.
Yeah. It sounds
Oh
like
my God.
Let's
Brad
see if I can
Pitt
find
in
it.
Inglorious Bastards.
Oh yeah. Dude, this is
River-
reminding me of that
River
Bigfoot
Dershi.
Hunters thing.
River Dershi.
River Dirty, yeah. River Danchy. This is reminding me of that Bigfoot Hunters thing. You see those Finding Bigfoot hunting guys where they're like, "Hey, Bigfoot, I'm in the woods." Rrr, you know, in the middle of the night.
Ye
Okay.
Nautalushi.
Okay, so that means Skinwalker
Allegedly.
from Navajo.
That's his native tongue.
Yinalushi in
I-
Navajo means Skinwalker.
He
So was
didn't
it-
make that up.
Well, the video said it was in his native language. So is it like, is the Skinwalker
In the Skinwalker's native language.
in
In-
Skinwalker's native language? So is it like a Pokemon where he just says Nagalushi over and over again?
Yeah.
Okay. That was a stupid
And-
joke, but this video is stupid, so.
And then he pulls out a Pokeball and throws it out in the woods somewhere.
Nice. Based.
That- Oh,
Technology's come so far.
He's playing a
Right.
professional league of Pokemon Go.
Here we go.
so-
All right, here.
We're gonna catch the Nautilushi.
Catch Nagalushi.
No, the Yi Nautilushi.
At this point, he was doing everything you could possibly imagine to find the Skinwalkers, and nothing was working. So far, the only thing he felt was that he is being watched, but this is when things get worse. He decided to try using the death whistle, which you may know isn't the best idea.
Why would I know that?
Because it's called a death whistle.
Okay. My mistake. I thought it was death for the other guy.
Wait, why did it just pan to a daytime shot?
Whoa.
As you can see,
That is a man in a
Skinwalkers really
Speedo.
don't like the whistling, but he did it anyways. After using the death whistle, he started hearing some rustling off in the bushes, and he decided to investigate it as it was the only reasonable thing to do, even though he had the feeling of being watched. So subscribe for part 2.
Oh my god.
Absolutely.
Subscribe
not.
for part 2. You don't want to
Trevor.
subscribe for part 2?
That was the worst video I've watched all day. Besides the donkey video.
Trevor,
Well,
it
don't
takes
watch
a
it.
lot to see something so bad that I start to get a little mad. That one made me a little mad.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, so we've learned nothing so far.
So moving on.
Okay.
This is Twin Paranormal. They have done multiple paranormal videos. They're not on the History Channel or whatever, Netflix.
So they're not shills.
Yeah,
they've
is that
gone
our
in
argument? It's like
So
the
and
the
tried
only way
to
you go to the
do-
History Channel is to sell out, man. Well, to get like a
these guys
record
can't
deal.
be shills. 'Cause
Yeah.
They're not on the History Channel.
These guys are
Yeah.
artistes. They're legit.
I don't know if they're legit or not, but I like them.
Okay. So did these guys capture something in particular?
In one of their earlier Skinwalker videos, yes, and that's what made them popular. And they have done many, like 10. They've got a whole series,
Tens of videos. Tens of videos.
10 or 15 different
Okay.
hour to 2 hour segments
Okay.
of just researching and walking around at night.
Are we going to see something
Seeing what they can
interesting in
capture.
this video?
I don't think so.
So they're just walking around in the woods?
Yes. And they have done lots of research, and they talk about all the history and stuff. If you go back to the beginning of this video, they'll tell us the history of where they're at and what they're doing. And most of their stuff is, typical supernatural. They're walking around looking for stuff. So a lot of their stuff is nothing happens until something like a noise happens and they go crazy over it. Your typical
Sounds like
supernatural
every
channel.
ghost hunter.
Yeah.
So I did just remember on the Skinwalkers show, they open up a hole in the ground and there's some noxious fumes in there. Did you see that part?
It might have been a different season. I remember that they tried to drill under the mesa and they caused some sinkholes. I remember that happening.
Huh.
So, I don't
Remember
know
there's
about-
it was a
Oh!
noxious gas. And
No. I remember what you're talking about now. No, there was a culvert, like a well, and they opened the lid up the top of it, and they got hit with a radiation burst.
right, that's it.
Yeah, and the guy got some burns on his skin. Okay, so I'm just gonna go off the. Trevor, do me a favor. See if you can find some more, like eyewitness something, like orbs, aliens.
Orbs and
Anything.
aliens.
I don't care anything. anything related to Skinwalker Ranch, and I'm going to give my 2 cents of my understanding of the situation. So, in my opinion, it sounds like, basically, let's just start with the story. So the story is that you had this old couple that was there for a while, and they didn't, they started going through some weird stuff. We don't know a lot about that bunch from what I understand, but then another rancher bought it, and he started getting cattle mutilations and that kind of thing. And he eventually, kept losing cows, and presumably he was going to go out of business, so he sold it to this billionaire guy, and George Knapp. Now, they start doing this federal-funded project, which that should already tell you that it's doomed for failure when, you're getting federal funding. So they start digging around. Of course, they go around for 20 years, and nothing happens. I mean, they don't announce anything. Stuff happens. There's all these individual accounts. One guy, for example, saw wolf prints that were huge. I guess I should rewind a bit. Back when the rancher first bought the place, there was apparently this giant wolf that walked up and was, not afraid of them, which makes sense because this wolf was the size of a horse. Why would it be afraid of people?
Speaking of that one, I just found this one.
Oh, yeah?
That one you're talking about.
All right, send me the link, and maybe we'll play it. Anyway, so the family's astonished that this giant wolf is A, giant, and B, not afraid of them. And so they mess around with the wolf, and then the wolf does the obvious thing and attacks the horse or the cattle, which is why it was there. And I guess what's weird hearing all these stories is everybody always acts like that stuff's supernatural. It's like, okay, so you had a dire wolf or some big wolf or something come up, and then it attacked your cows because that's what wolves do. And then they shot at it, and of course it didn't die because the thing's the size of a horse.
Because it's a giant wolf.
Yeah, because it's a giant wolf. And
it's literally the wolf off of the Never-Ending Story.
yeah, there we go.
That video did not show the whole wolf. Never mind.
Yeah. Anyway, so they're like, I hit it. I swore I hit it. It's like, I doubt you did, and even if you did, the pelt probably stopped enough of it so that it didn't die. They didn't hit it in the right spot,
Sure.
So it got away. And there's in the area a bunch of Skinwalker legends because I guess the Navajo or the Ute cursed the Navajo or something like that. And the legends in conjunction with seeing this giant wolf led to the Skinwalker legend. When Bigelow bought it, the billionaire and the government started doing their research. There was a guy that got pictures of the paw prints, and when he went into a cave, he found some giant traps, which makes sense. There's a big wolf. You want to catch the wolf, right? Well, things didn't get weird until really there's a lot of weird stories, but by the time the next bunch comes in to do the investigating, they focus a lot on this area they call the Triangle. And they keep shooting rockets and dropping bottles and trying to get an idea of what this thing is. But basically above the Triangle, there's an object in the sky. And when you point a laser up into it, it'll bend the light. It'll break the light in half. There's clearly something up there that's cloaked that you can't see. And they show it on the video, it's splitting the ray up and everything. But it doesn't always do it. But, when it does it, it's pretty impressive. So they're trying to figure out what this thing above the Triangle is the majority of the series. And the theory is essentially that it's a wormhole. Now, I guess the debate would be, did the military make this wormhole? And it's part of a secret government project, and that's why they ran the ranchers off and everything like that. Or is this wormhole the result of supernatural occurrences? You know what I'm saying? So they don't know. They just know that there is something definitely odd about this particular spot above the Triangle. They're calling it a wormhole. What caused the wormhole? I'm going to say CIA, and they're Scooby-Dooing everybody, but I guess it's possible that, I don't know, the Navajo opened a portal to hell or something. So
yeah,
that is a very condensed version of 11 hours of material or 11 episodes of material. The only thing that I would really like bicker with people on is there's a lot of emphasis on Homestead 2. And they basically are, all the symptoms are things that are happening in Homestead 2, with the exception of the radiation that you pointed out earlier. That was at Homestead 2 as well. I don't have an explanation for that. But, that when they opened that up and got the radiation spike, yeah, that's not supernatural. But everything else, it's like people fainting and swooning, and they're seeing orbs. It's typical haunting stuff.
Yeah.
And if I were to guess, I would say that the haunting stuff is probably secondary. You've got all these legends and, stories of skinwalkers and whatnot. That's going to create anxiety. That's going to create hype. Those demons and stuff are attracted to hype. Because, it's clearly demons. When you see the orbs, it's like we've seen orbs like that a jillion times. It's the same thing. They're orbs. They're demons. So it's probably just something that's latched on to the hype around the area, if I were to guess. So the haunting stuff, I feel, is secondary and, in a sense, like disconnected from what's actually going on out there. But everybody likes to focus on it because it's very reminiscent of Ghost Adventures, You hear spooky voices and, Dracula's castle type things. So, so that's it. They also see a lot of UFOs out there, like lights in the sky and all that.
Yeah.
But it is interesting if it is, if it is UFO type stuff, like if it is a government project, they're definitely using a beam. This is what I found fascinating. I guess let me say the most fascinating thing about the History Channel show that I found. I thought the most fascinating part of it was there was 1.6 gigahertz. There's a frequency that's coming from the same direction that's affecting the whole town. And every time they have this weird stuff happen, that frequency kicks up. So it's 1.6 gigahertz. It's fascinating. And when they actually went to the radio station to play that signal to the community to see if anybody else had heard it, there was like 6 to 8 UFOs that appeared in the town that night, which was fascinating. Yeah. So that what I think it's some kind of automated drone technology that's responding to the frequency. Like they shoot a frequency that's communicating with a computer, and that's like prompting ships or something to go out. To do what? I don't know, but I think it's some kind of drone tech, and the signals used to communicate with the drones. That's my opinion. I don't know, but that was the most fascinating thing, because it's like you got this unexpected response. But this is the thing, and Trevor is right about this a little bit. I think there is a lot of government involvement and censorship in the project, and I'm kind of a little suspicious of some of the guys on the show. But because the only times they ever actually discovered something like of any interest was when somebody made an impromptu decision that nobody was like expecting, I'm trying to think of an example.
Speaking of which, the only thing that I can find as far as like aliens and UFOs is from pulled from that video on the History Channel. It's like, what the heck? There used to be stuff on this all the time, and now it's just History Channel. Like, I wish there was a way you could take the History Channel out of the search engine,
Oh, yeah, I know. I hate that they've got all this crap about, it's CIA censoring everything. I'm just going to say that. But anyway, yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And, the other thing was, I think I know how they're killing the cows. This was fascinating. I think they've got those UFO drone ships, and they shoot some kind of beam, like some kind of concentrated radiation beam. Because whenever the cow gets hit, in the show, there's a cow that gets hit and dies. Like there's the radiation's off the charts in that one concentrated area.
I just found one from 2020. It's just from a random person.
Okay, let's see if that'll work.
That looks like the Millennium Falcon.
So, were the cows just dead, or were they cut up?
They were the earlier ones from the rancher were cut up. The ones that are later in the History Channel documentary, they're not. They just drop dead for no reason. I think they're getting hit with some kind of radiation weapon because they're
Like a heart
fine.
attack gun.
Yeah, something like that. Because they're fine 1 second and then they just go nuts like the next day. It's like they're being hit with something.
They're like, it's mad cow disease. Take a vaccine about it.
Right. It could infect you. You never know.
You never know.
Okay, so this is All right, let's take a look at this.
Looks like an airplane so far.
I don't think so because they usually have the red and green lights that are like for air traffic control.
He's got his high beams on. The red and green lights shut off when you turn your high beams on.
Honestly, to me, it looks like somebody clipped the Millennium Falcon to that video.
Are you sure that was Skinwalker Ranch? Because that looked like a British road sign.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That
It
looks
says
like a
Skinwalker
road sign
Ranch
from
on
another
it, so
country.
probably.
I would hesitate on that one. But that is the kind of stuff they are seeing out there. That's in the ballpark.
Yeah, that was the only one, though, that doesn't say History Channel.
That is a little sus. I will admit that's a little sus. So anyway. So I'm going to give my crazy theory about what I think is going on. Which is, and if I'm wrong, that's fine. It's going in a book. So this is what I think happened. I think that there was probably some miner out there who didn't know what he was doing, digging around in that mesa.
Like
And
a hole digger or a young child?
a hole digger.
Okay.
You got to be very, very
Just
clear.
wanted to, make the
Very, very
distinction.
clear, yeah. So we got some prospector. I should have used the word prospector.
There you
Dadgum.
go.
Yeah, English is hard. Anyway,
What was he prospecting?
gold, silver, anything. Probably silver. Silver seems to be pretty big out there. So
Anything prospective.
yeah, anything perspective. Something with rock in it. Anyway. So I think he's out there prospecting. And this isn't as far-fetched as it sounds because, the creationists, all the stuff that they've found, it's miners. They're finding stuff in coal seams. They're finding stuff, like it's actually the miners and, workers and coal and stuff that are finding, like the hammer and the bell and the little ball bearings, stuff that has no place being that deep. It's always the mining people that find that stuff. So I think there was some kind of prospector digging around up there, and maybe he came. I'm going to say he came across a ship. I'll just go all in and say he came across a ship. I think it was I got to make sure I get this word right. I need to Google this because Greg corrected me, and I'm going to look like a fool if I forget. But what is that word for the pre-flood world?
Bird.
What?
Pre-flood.
I think it's...
Hold
Yeah,
on.
that's right. Antediluvian. I was right. Yes. I
Oh,
love
okay.
being right. So I think they found a ship or something that was buried out there in a mine that was antediluvian. And I think it goes back to what we were talking about with the pyramids, using different frequencies and Tesla tech and F-sharps and geothermal and all that. I think they had some kind of craft that was powered by that kind of energy source. I think they probably found it in the late 1800s. They probably monkeyed with it for 40 years, eventually figured out how it worked. That that revitalized or changed up their physics. They started experimenting with wormholes and crap out there. And then people started buying the land out there, and it started to get too populated, so they needed to start running people off. And so the feds started Scooby-Dooing everybody, cutting up cows and killing them with the spaceships and all this, and going, it's the Skinwalker, guys.
So where do you think the ship is now?
It's probably still in that mesa, or they've replicated it.
So
and they've
you
got a
think they
base in
buried
there.
it?
No, I think they got a base in the mesa. I think they got like an underground base out there or something.
Okay.
Some kind of military installation. That was probably started as a result of them finding a ship out there.
Talking about like a flying craft or a ship?
Flying craft.
Okay.
You know, I don't know if it could go out into deep space, but maybe it can go to the moon or something. I don't know, but you know, some kind of antediluvian tech, because that's what Bob
In the
Lazar
70s.
said. Hmm?
The 70s, they were saying we were going to have a hotel on the moon. So
Yeah, they failed,
yeah.
but that was
They
what
always
Bob
do.
Lazar said. Though he said that they found these things in digs during the Joe Rogan interview, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's probably what happened. I think they found something out there, and they've been tinkering with it for 100 years. They started making progress probably in the 70s and 80s and started trying to run people off so they could do more experiments. And as for the demon crap, that's just those trashy things attaching to the lore. You know, I don't even think it's connected really.
Yeah.
So that's my theory. It's complete conjecture based on nothing, but that's my theory. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, Trevor. Do you have any thoughts? What's your theory?
Play the video.
What video?
What video?
That one of the twin paranormal.
Twin
Go
Paranormal.
to, yeah.
I
The one that
You said there wasn't anything on it.
Yeah, the last thing I showed was oh, you're still wanting to do the thing with the kids that just walk around in
Yeah.
the woods. What do
Yeah.
you I don't want to show people walking in the woods for 20 minutes. What exactly do you
No,
want me to
no,
find?
no. Skip to 32 minutes
30,
in.
32 minutes in.
Anyways,
Almost 33.
this is one of their things that they did capture.
Okay, so
After-
they did capture something. Okay.
After, I wasn't sure if that was the actual video of them capturing it or not. But
Okay, well, before we do that, seriously, what do you think's going on, Trevor? What's your opinion? What do you think's happening?
you want my realistic opinion?
Yes, my money is Fed found antediluvian tech and is trying to keep it quiet. What's your theory?
My theory is that demons are distracting us and they are doing anything they can to keep us from spreading the word of Jesus. So they come up with these crazy ideas like skinwalkers, and they go out there and curse the land or have other people curse the land, witches, warlocks, you name it. And then spirits act as these skinwalkers, Bigfoots, all that type of thing. And they show up every once in a blue moon and give us a glimpse of what they might look like, aka UFOs or skinwalkers, Bigfoots, all that. That is my honest opinion.
Cody, what's your thought?
I think there's probably a big magnetic disturbance out there. I don't really want to conjecture past that, but
Oh, I love conjecturing.
There's too much conjuring and
there's a
conjecture.
magnetic disturbance. That's probably what's causing the weird spot in the sky that refracts light different, and
Yeah.
all that different stuff.
See,
People like to be scared, so they're just gonna like, oh, I'm in Skinwalker Ranch. There's a thing.
It's scary.
See, I like my theory because you could picture yourself back in the 1980s and George Herbert Walker Bush is running around in a werewolf costume, and then the Scooby Game catches him and pulls off his mask and goes, "Herbert Walker!" It just makes me happy. I just enjoy thinking about that. So,
We should make a video like that.
all right, let's
Well, let's
find out
make
what
one.
these guys got, huh?
I was gonna
let's-
say, if we're gonna make a video, let's make one where it's Bin Laden, and then you pull his mask off, and it's George Jr.
And then you
There
pull
you
his
go.
other mask off and it's Tom Cruise.
You just keep pulling masks off,
Hillary Clinton.
It's like every
Hillary
celebrity on all sides, It's like, what do we do now? Okay, so what did these guys find here? All right, we got a twig breaking. Here we go.
So this is the sighting that made them kind of famous, if you will.
Oh, okay, got it.
Use your energy, please. Somebody's showing us that they're here. Can you help?
Again.
That's a demon, man.
Dude, that's that same bullshit.
What if we turn the light out? Complete darkness.
Want me to shut it off?
Shut the light out. At this point, we are vulnerable because we cannot see. So if you want to give us that sign that you are here, then come on. Please.
What'd you just hear?
Branch just broken. That was a thick ass branch.
Oh,
come
they
on.
actually got an apparition. Okay.
Please.
Yeah, they got something.
Yeah, that's
What'd you just hear?
Branch just broken.
It looks
That was
like a guy.
thick ass branch.
yeah, it's a demon. It's got that fake cartoon look.
Dude,
that
something's
they
wrong
got.
with this area, man. There's something
You can
wrong
even
with
see
this
the, like, the
area.
eye glow for a
frogs are
second.
completely
Trying to
silent
zoom
still.
in on it.
Like someone's just
Yeah, it's
watching
really
us.
hard to see.
This
The
Native
guy's neck tattoo
American,
is wild.
was it an adult? Or was it a child? Or a teenager? Dude.
7.
Young. 7.
Holy shit.
Feet.
Young and 7. Okay, male or female? Boy or girl? Please. Right there, right there, right there, right there. Movement. Complete movement.
Complete movement,
Yeah.
not
exactly what
partial
I heard.
movement.
You can pause it.
Is that all they got?
That's really the most that they have gotten in all their videos. Was that right there? So the rest of them were just them calling out and their contraptions responding and stuff like that.
Were they at Homestead too?
They have another video at all the different locations. They have several different videos, like the cave you were talking about earlier.
You know, the cave that got collapsed.
They went down in another cave that's on Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh, okay.
They've got a whole video on that, and they have a whole series at Skinwalker Ranch of doing different areas.
Well,
But
How come the older I get, the more caves scare me?
because we're not as young and lively as we used to be, we could legitimately get stuck in them.
because we're no longer cavemen.
Yeah, no, I like every time I think about going in a cave, I used to just like walk into them all the time. But every time I think about it, I'm like, there's probably a mountain lion in there.
Yeah.
Like the one at Grandma's.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like,
see, it's called when we were young, we were stupid. We had no survival
guess so.
instincts.
Yeah.
we still had fun up there.
Oh,
yeah. If it had been 1,000 years earlier, it would have been thinned from the herd, probably. So, anyway, so my money's CIA, Trevor's demons, yours is minerals.
Yeah.
Great.
They're all the same.
Somehow I
The
doubt
demons
that.
and CIA, I mean, they work closely together. I mean,
I actually do believe that.
yeah.
Which, speaking of which, gets us to CERN. I think we're going to talk about CERN next week. I think we need to start talking about some of this stuff because, Trump came out with all this. We've got stuff in space, been space and time. So we're
Very concerned.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I don't want to be
that was-
concerned with that. Yeah. That was a good one.
Yeah, so they're starting to brag about the tech we got. And I kind of actually agree with Jones's theory on it that they've probably been sitting on a bunch of stuff for a while because they've been trying to basically make sure that we go back to a feudalistic system. You can't do that if you've got a steady linear progression of tech. So you have to stagnate everything and then turn people stupid.
You think they have to suppress the techno? I mean, how much technology advances? Like,
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we figured out hydrogen tomorrow and the oil industry collapsed?
That's actually, I think that's right. I think you're right about that.
The restructuring of the infrastructure of the country
Yeah.
would be intense.
They have a term for it in Alex Jones. It's called disruptive technology. It's like, just a little bit. Your entire industry goes kaput. That's called disruptive. I gotcha. So they're basically sitting on a bunch of stuff so they can stay in power. It's like, what? We're not in an oligarchy or anything. Not at all. So
Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hopefully they
We're
start.
definitely
Huh?
Definitely in an oligarchy.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Trump's going to be in office for the next 20 years.
Oh gosh, I hope not. I mean, I love everything Trump's doing right now, but they're talking about him running again, and I'm like, he'll be in his 80s. Let these presidents go home. Like, they don't need to be working until they drop.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a whole other subject. So I think we need to get into CERN. We need to get into the space-time stuff. I think that would be fun. But if you're in the chat and you're listening, or you're in the comments section listening to this after the stream, let us know what you want us to talk about. Should we talk about CERN and aliens and all of this?
Are you concerned?
Are you concerned about CERN?
That's disconcerting.
Oh, gosh.
That's a different word. Disconcerting?
Jokes played out. Guys, thank you so much for watching.
What?
We're not really going anywhere. This is just the end of episode 1. But again, thank you so much for
Okay,
watching, and we will see you next time.
I'm
Later,
watching
y'all.
you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Faith, Fiction, and Folklore. If you did, we would love it if you would subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Rumble. We can also be found on X, Instagram, and Facebook. And we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Thank you again very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.